हरे कृष्ण परिक्रमादि मतादि जगत प्रणाम प्रभुपाद की जय महाराज की जय प्रतिदारी का हरे कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण Ladies Mataji, is this letter from India with the Pranam Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for joining. Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Prabhupada, Sri Guru Maharaj, Jai, this is Sriya from Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glory to Srila Prabhupada, Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much for joining. Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, please thank you for my house. Srila Prabhupada, Guru Maharaj. This is Bhagavatam from my channel. Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glory to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much for joining. Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all Krishna Prabhupada, all Krishna Guru Maharaj, and all the Vaishnavas. This is Moini Lakshmi from Detroit. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Mataji, all Krishna Prabhupada, thank you so much for joining. Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. This is Ramkali Mataji. Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all Krishna Prabhupada, thank you so much for joining for this day. Hare Krishna Mataji. Hare Krishna Shamukari Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all Krishna Prabhupada, thank you so much for joining. Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Hare Krishna, Prabhu Shri Guru Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada, thank you so much for joining. Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Congress to Srila Prabhupada, Guru Maharaj. This is Lavani. Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you so much for joining. Hare Krishna Parikrama Mataji, all Krishna Prabhupada. My humble obeisance is to you and all the devotees. This is Krishna Kumari Vidas Prabhupada. Hare Krishna Krishna Kumari Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all Krishna Prabhupada, thank you so much for joining Mataji. Hare Krishna. Is there anyone else who wants to say something? Start recording. The recording has started. Welcome to Bhakti Sangha conference call. Today we are very fortunate to have His Grace Chakravarti Prabhuji, are you present on the call?
Yes, Mataji, I'm here.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisances. Always wish you a Prabhupada, always Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for giving your valuable association and time to all of us. Now I would like to hand over the call to you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So, humble obeisances to all the devotees on the call. We are discussing from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, the creation of the fourth order, Chapter 14, the story of King Vena, text number 12 onwards. Tadvibadbhir asat vritto venosmabhi krito nripaha santvitto yadi no vacham na grahisyati adharmakrit lokadhikkara sangdagdam dahisyamah swatejasa. Word to word meaning. Tat, his mischievous nature. Vivadbhi, aware of. Asat vrittaha, impious. Vena, asmabhi, by us. Kritaha, was made. Nipaha, king. Santvitaha, in spite of being pacified. Yadi, if. Naha, our. Vacham, words. Na, not. Grahisyati, he will accept. Adharmakrit, the most mischievous. Lokadhikkara, by public condemnation. Sandhagdam, burned. Dahisyamaha, we shall burn. Swatejasa, by our prowess. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The saintly sages continued thinking. Of course, we are completely aware of his mischievous nature. Yet, nevertheless, we enthroned Vena. If we cannot persuade King Vena to accept our advice, he will be condemned by the public and we will join them. Thus, by our prowess, we shall burn him to ashes. Purport. Saintly persons are not interested in political matters. Yet, they are always thinking of the welfare of the people in general. Consequently, they sometimes have to come down to the political field and take steps to correct the misguided government or royalty. However, in Kali Yuga, saintly persons are not as powerful as they previously were. They used to be able to burn any sinful man to ashes by virtue of their spiritual prowess. Now, saintly persons have no such power due to the influence of the age of Kali. Indeed, the Brahmanas do not even have power to perform sacrifice, in which animals are put into fire to attain a new life. Under these circumstances, instead of actively taking part in politics, saintly persons should engage in chanting the Mahamantra, Hare Krishna. By the grace of Lord Chaitanya, by simply chanting this Hare Krishna Mahamantra, the general populace can derive all benefits without political implications. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavansya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathambitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakha Vitamsha Namam Vishnupadaya कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामने गौरतुषे नमः हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिय वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna. So we are from past few weeks, maybe you are discussing about King Vena and his father Anga, how the demigods were not accepting his sacrifice. So then he was told by the priest that you should perform a sacrifice for the son. And eventually he received a son. But King Anga was married to a wife named Sunita, who was the daughter of death personified. Now you know that the son gets the quality of mother and daughter gets quality of father more prominently. So the death personified, his daughter Sunita got qualities from her father. And Sunita in turn gave these qualities to son who was Vena. Now, when Vena was a small boy, young boy, how he used to be so ruthless. If he's playing with the boys, he's not happy, he will kill them. And nobody, because he was the son of the king, nobody dared to say anything to him. And finally, the king himself left. He thought, what can I do? I cannot kill my son because this kingdom needs someone. And then I cannot stay like this. I cannot tolerate to see my son doing all these notorious activities. So devotees, they try to see good in everything. And similarly, King Anga thought that, this is good in a way. I've got the son who is not disciplined, who doesn't listen to me, who's not under my control, who's such a notorious fellow that I became detached. I don't have any attachment now left for my son or for my wife, and definitely no attachment for the kingdom. So in midnight, once in the midnight while his wife was sleeping, king left without telling anyone. And next day morning, everyone saw that king is not there. Now king is definitely required. Someone is required. Some leader is required at every level, whether at the level of family, at the level of society, at the level of nation, or this Bharatvarsh, or every planet. Entire universe has a leader named as Brahma. And entire creation has a leader, it's Krishna himself. So leader is must. And then they didn't have any choice because there was only one son of King Anga who was Vena. Even though, that's why it is said in this translation, of course, We are completely aware of his mischievous nature. Yet, nevertheless, we enthroned Vena. They knew, but what can they do? Sometimes you have to go with the option, which is not the best, but better than not having anyone as a leader. So then they thought, okay, let's go. We'll see what will happen. They thought, like even you say devotees, they try to preach people, thinking that sometimes there are some notorious people we get while distributing books or preaching, and they kind of want to become the member of the group, member of the society. They want to be part of our society, but they're mischievous or they're sometimes even notorious. Now, what to do? The devotees, they say, okay, the process of devotional service is so powerful that even notorious people can be cleansed of their swabhava or their nature, and eventually they can become devotees. And that has happened. It has happened. Nityanand Prabhu, rather than getting Jagai Madai killed with the hands from the hands of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda gave them mercy, and in turn Lord Chaitanya gave them mercy, and Jagai Madai became pure devotees. The process is so powerful of devotional service. So here also, the sages thought, okay, maybe when the Vena will become king, he'll become more responsible. He will perform sacrifices to Lord Vishnu. He will, through us, he will protect Dharma. He will spread Dharma as a responsible king. And eventually he'll get purified. You see, in the Vedic, I don't know exactly in Vedic times, but definitely in India we have seen, and not new pattern. It's a very old pattern that if some boy then mischievous, but now he's come to the age of like 20, 21. So then the old people in the family, like grandfathers and grandmothers, they will say, let him get married. Get him married. He'll get the responsibility. He'll become sober. So they thought, okay, let's try. Eventually, Vena will get married. He'll take responsibility of the kingdom. He'll understand the problems of his citizens, perform sacrifices, and eventually he will follow his own predecessors. Are so great, and he will be all right. He'll become uh, not a devotee, but at least righteous king. If he may not become a devotee, but at least he'll become a king who will take care of his citizens. That's what everyone is like in material world. What do you have? There's a first principle. We go and preach. Based on this, we establish our preaching. We go out knowing that people are mischievous and notorious, sometimes demoniac. But we know we have the faith on the process of devotional service, and we give them. And we hope and pray that, yes, in turn, they will accept it with their heart and get purified. Some take it, get purified. Some people take half-heartedly, get little purified, at least become pious, not become devotees. Some do not accept, but somehow they came in touch with Krishna consciousness through devotees, through prasad, through kirtan. So eventually, they, in this life or next life, definitely they have to become devotees. But who accepts immediately becomes devotee. Now here, this is what they are trying to do. They gave an opportunity to Vena to become the king, and taught that, because he's trained, after all, he was trained. Everyone has to go to Gurukul. Even if you are a son of a king, you must go to Gurukul. Like Pandavas, like Kauravas, like Prachetas. They went to the forest to do tapasya. Like the sons, 10,000 sons, and plus 1,000, 11,000 sons of Daksha went to forest to perform tapasya. Everyone in their life must undergo this tapasya, and that is called brahmachari training. For boys, is the training about celibacy, controlling the senses, and for girls, training is about chastity. So even if one is son of a brahmana or a kshatriya, he may be a big king, like Daksha or Dhritarashtra's son, Bandu's son, or son of a Vaishya. They must go to Gurukul and live life of a brahmachari, of a celibate, controlling the senses, controlling the mind, sharpening their intelligence so that they can understand the codes of religion given in the Vedic literatures, and purifying their heart so that they can be compassionate and kind towards all the people and give them Krishna consciousness in turn, make everyone devotee. That's it. That's how this material world is designed, so that everyone eventually becomes a devotee. Like Prahlad Maharaj says, Brahmachari Gurukule Vasandanto Gurohitam. Controlling the senses, all these boys, they stay in Gurukul, in the house of a Guru. For the pleasure of Guru, they do all the activities. Like Krishna and Sudama, Lord Ramchandra, he also went few days with Valmiki, not with Valmiki, sorry, with Vishwamitra. So training must be there. So Vena maybe kind of, because he was son of king, he would have, king would have sent him for some training, but he didn't accept. And the sages, they thought, okay, let's see, maybe he'll get purified, but neither of them happened. So then what they thought? Here is the assembly of sages who are thinking how to deal with this king, how to deal with Vena. Definitely, there are many powerful sages who would go to kings and tell them, look, this is where you are deviating, you're doing wrong. So come back on the track and focus. So that's why they say if we cannot persuade, plan B. Everyone must have a plan B. So plan A doesn't work, we'll try to persuade him, we'll try to convince him. Because just in the last few verses you read how Vena, he stopped all the fire sacrifice. He stopped even providing alms of clarified butter, which is ghee, for the sacrifice. No alms should be given to Brahmins, especially ghee. So they cannot perform. Because he used to tell, now the sages will go and they'll try to convince Vena. And they will say that Lord Vishnu is the supreme personality of Godhead. And all the yajnas, all the sacrifices are meant for his pleasure. Then Vena will say that you are all sages like prostitutes, unchaste. I am the king, I am your husband, you should just worship me. He was so pakka demon. He was so demoniac, like Hiranyakashipu. If you want to differentiate very easily between demon and a non-demon or a demigod, and you have to check the degree, to what degree he is claiming to be the supreme person, to what degree he is trying to control everything. We all have controlling tendency. But if we have controlling tendency, I control people, which I should not do, but it's my anartha. I have some shortcomings. I'm not purified. I have this controlling tendency. So I'm controlling. But I do agree. I do agree that there's a Supreme Lord. So he is a small anarthas which he'll get rid of. Bigger problem is when you think that you are Supreme Lord. So here Vena is thinking he's Supreme Lord, like Hiranyakashipu. So the plan B was, if we cannot persuade, the sages are thinking, if we cannot persuade Vena to accept our advice, what will happen? He will be condemned by public. We'll bring the matter into public. And we will also join. And public will not do anything. We, by our own prowess, will kill him, burn him to ashes. Now you see how the things are happening. There's a phrase in Vedic literature, Dharmo Rakshati Rakshataha. One who protects the principle of Dharma, Dharma will in turn protect him. That's how devotees are safe. Devotees are protected because they protect the religion. They're protected. So here, Vena didn't protect the codes of religion. He's not protecting religion. So he anyways lost his piety. And now he's vulnerable. He's weak. He's not practicing any religious thing. And apart from that, all the citizens of his kingdom are unhappy. And finally, the Brahmins, they will just, with some mantras, they'll burn him to ashes. Eventually, that will happen. But Prabhupada says in purport that saintly persons are not interested in political matters. Yet, they are always thinking of the welfare of people in general. It's not the duty or it's not in the working zone of a Brahmin to get into politics. But sometimes, but sometimes they have to. You see, Chanakya himself got into these things. Consequently, they sometimes have to come down to the political field and take steps to correct the misguided government or royalty. However, now, if you see in history, these kind of things have happened when the kings have become completely demoniac. Hiranyakashipu was so powerful, even demigods were fearful. What to talk about other Brahmins? He killed so many cows and Brahmins. Same mentality. All the demoniac people, what they will do, they'll kill the cows. They'll slaughter the cows. They will kill the Brahmins. They will try to stop the Vedic religious ceremonies. In modern culture, it is said in 1947, excuse me, when India got independence, there were 90 crores cows. 90 crore cows were there. And the populations of human being was only 30 crores. You imagine now 90 crore cows and only 30 crores people. Where is the shortage of milk? There's no shortage of anything. Today, there are only 9 crores of cows. And human population on this in this country is 130 crore. That too excluding Bangladesh. How many cows they have slaughtered? The first, after independence, they did what even the time Under the rule of government, what happened is they installed the first automated industrial usage slaughterhouse for the cows. And they started slaughtering like 10,000 cows per day. In 1950s, I'm not talking about now. Then later on it increased. So all these demonic people, they cannot tolerate somehow cows. What to talk about temples? They'll break temples, they'll kill cows. And that's what's happening all over the world. Nowadays we see what is happening, the regular attack on the religious places like churches or mosques. That's where they attack because they cannot tolerate peace. They may not know this unknowingly, but because they're so demoniac, they're controlled by powerfully by lower modes, so they get into all this. And now, Prabhupada is saying, however, in Kali Yuga, saintly persons are not as powerful as they were previously. They're not powerful. So, what to do? And even if they are, it is said that Mahaprabhu, when he was about to kill Jagai and Madai, Lord Nityananda told him that if you will kill these people, then you have to kill everyone on this planet. And if you kill everyone, then how do we preach? Whom do we preach? Where is our service? So, Mahaprabhu was requested by Nityananda Prabhu that don't kill them, give them Krishna Prem. And following the example, what devotees in the line of Lord Chaitanya are doing is trying to give bhakti or devotional service to as many as people possible. A materialistic person, he takes so much of risk to earn money. Prahlad Maharaj says in 7th canto and teachings of Prahlad Maharaj, he says a materialistic person has to go far off distances. Sometimes they go deep down the oceans to get some pearls. They do so much of drilling for gold and for diamonds and for other metals, and many they die there. So they are taking risk of their life to earn money. And devotees are taking risk of their lives to give Krishna. See the difference. The activity is same, but the purpose is different. Externally, it looks same. That's why Prabhupada says, if you build a 5-star hotel where all the regulatory principles are broken, or you build the temple where Krishna Bhakti is given and the propagation of devotional service happens. The propagation, apparently, what is looking is the building, the structure, the cement, the paint, the material, everything is same. But one is for Krishna consciousness, another is for personal sense gratification, which leads to hell. And now, what is the responsibility of devotees? Srila Prabhupada explains in this. Now, saintly persons have no influence or power due to the age of Kali. In these Brahmanas do not have even power to perform sacrifice in which animals are put into fire to attain a new life. There's no such sacrifice happening where you sacrifice a cow or a horse and then give them new life or make them human being. There are no Brahmanas like that. Then what to do? And hardly we can actually devotees can get into politics directly. It's not like even before. Before there were some codes to be followed. There were some codes which were followed, some religious code. Now it's completely demoniac everywhere. Like we read in Mahabharata that how Pandavas and Kauravas, they were enemies when they were fighting on the battlefield. But in the evening, they would sit together, take dinner. Arjuna is going to Duryodhan, asking for those 5 arrows. Yudhishthir is going to Bhishma and Drona, asking them how they can be killed. And they were so friendly. There was no question of enmity. But once Bhishma was killed, not killed, when Bhishma was on the bed of arrows because of Arjun on the 9th or 10th day, after that they started fighting even in the night. Duryodhan didn't stop, especially after Drona left, but Drona was killed. Completely, it was adharma. There no religious, no codes of war which were followed. That's how these 5 sons of Draupadi were killed in the night. And the war was going on till late in the night, even in the dark. Now, what to talk about Kali Yuga? We cannot even imagine to get into politics as a proper saying, active part. Instead of actively taking part in politics, saintly persons should engage in chanting the Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. What will happen with that? There is a sacrifice for this age. That we have to chant Mahamantra. When you chant this Mahamantra, Krishna is pleased definitely. Even if you chant, Krishna is pleased. But others get benefit, whoever hears the sound vibration. That's why Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur says that even if one sincere soul, just one sincere humble devotee, he sits in any corner of the universe and chants Mahamantra. Entire universe gets benefit of the sound vibration. So that sacrifice is going on, and because of that sacrifice, things are still moving in the world. Otherwise, we can only imagine that what would happen when all the sacrifice will stop. That's why he says, Prabhupada writes, by the grace of Lord Chaitanya, by simply chanting this Hare Krishna mantra, the general populace can derive all benefits without political implication. Prabhupada in 1966 or 67 was invited in United Nations. So they did Kirtan outside United Nations, but devotees were performing Sankirtan. And they were told, no, keep silence. And Prabhupada said, this is not good. If you don't perform Sankirtan Yajna and just keep silent, what's the benefit? And somehow they started chanting instead of doing Sankirtan. And now everywhere there are problems with Sankirtan. The world has degraded so much in last 50 years. Prabhupada started, he faced some resistance. Even in India, even in Bombay, someone said that, this is nuisance. And Prabhupada was so heavy, you can hear in many lectures, he's talking that, this is the land of Dharma, Bharat Bhumi. And here people are saying that this is nuisance. And if this is nuisance, what are they doing? And now, in many places, even in India, to perform Sankirtan, you have to take permissions. Sometimes you get, sometimes you don't get. What to talk about the world over? And then we chant this, perform the Sankirtan Yajna, and everyone gets benefit. So gradually, this world will get purified. If we keep on increasing the Sankirtan Yajna. This is what Prabhupada writes in the purport. Apart from that, if you see this plan B of the sages, they said that we'll try to convince Sam Dam Dand Bhed, whatever it takes, we'll try to convince Vena. But if he is not agreeing to our proposal and does not leave his this heinous activities, demoniac activities, then we will kill him. We'll burn him to ashes. Even the Brahmins, the sages, are opting or planning to opt, and they actually did, act of violence. And people say this is violent. Actually, this is not violence. When Prabhupada went to America in 1965, the Vietnam War was going on. And already in America, people were not happy with Vietnam War, and Prabhupada started speaking about Bhagavad Gita, which is about, the contexts of the war. So many people were very uncomfortable. And Prabhupada clarified that this war mentioned in Bhagavad Gita and Mahabharata is different from the war which is happening in Vietnam. This war is Dharma Yuddha, because Lord Krishna, the father of Dharma, is standing there. Similarly, these sages, they opted for this violent activity of killing the king. If you read 9th canto, Parshuram was told by Jamadagni, when Parshuram, he actually killed Kartavira Arjun. Kartavira Arjun was who came with his soldiers and forcefully took the Kamadhenu Gau from Jamadagni. And Parshuram was not there. So when Parshuram heard, he was so angry, he was so mad at Kartavira Arjun that he ran with the speed of mind. It is that he ran with the speed of mind and he fought with the speed of mind with his axe and his bow and arrow. And when he was tired, then he fought with the speed of wind. This is Parshuram's speed. That is Shakti Vaishalta. So Jamadagni, then when he killed the king and came back, his father told him, very beautiful verse. It's all about compassion, tolerance. It's like you can maybe sometimes refer to it and read. It's 9th canto, 15th chapter, verse number 40 or 39 or 40. Very beautiful purport Prabhupada gives. So Parshuram is being told by his father that in no way we should kill the king. And that kill Kartavira Arjun was also very demoniac. We should not kill. And here we see the sages themselves, they killed. So violence is to be applied when it becomes necessary. It's like a surgical operation. It's like a surgery. In surgery, the doctor uses these weapons, his own weapons, and he'll cut the body. He'll do some operation, stitching and all that, again stitch the body fine. It looks like an act of violence, cutting the body. But that is to save the human being or any living entity. Sometimes the poison spreads in the body and doctors, they recommend to amputate, to remove the hand or the leg. Has to be removed to protect the entire body. That's what Chanakya Pandit says. To protect one family, if one human being has to be sacrificed, one person, one member of the family has to be sacrificed. To protect the village, if one family is to be sacrificed, we must sacrifice the family. And to protect the nation, one village is to be sacrificed, let it go. We have to see the bigger picture. It is not actually violence. It is still an act of compassion by the sages. If Vena would be alive, he would be doing more damage to himself by getting into these demonic activities. So many sinful reactions will come. So actually by killing him, the sages protected. Vena anyways went to hell. Vena went to hell. But still, if he would have lived, he would have done more damage to himself. So, killing by sages is one, the act of compassion for Vena, and it is act of compassion for the public in large. They were suffering. People in general, they were suffering. And that's why it is said, yet they are always thinking of the welfare of the people. The sages are thinking of the welfare of the people, and they were suffering. So it was utmost necessity that they have to take an action and to burn Vena to the ashes. Like Krishna did, like Lord Ram. Lord Ram till the last moment was telling her, Ravana, if you surrender even now, I will release you, I will spare your life. And Ravana was personification of false ego. He didn't surrender. Lord Krishna went to Karna, he went to Duryodhan, he went to Dhritarashtra, explained everyone that please do not fight, you will all be destroyed. But Duryodhan and Karna were too much puffed up. They thought they can win with all the Pandavas with Krishna on their side. Krishna tried, but it becomes necessary. Has to take action. So sometimes violence is an act of compassion. Like a story comes about Lord Buddha. Lord Buddha killed one person, and everyone came to Buddha from the village that you are preaching ahimsa paro dharma. You are preaching that non-violence is the topmost dharma. How is that you killed this man? So Buddha said, because this person was he was so angry in the rage of his anger, in the fit of his anger, he was going to burn the entire village. So I have killed him to protect the village and to protect him by taking this path of sinful activity. Has to be killed. So it is not that violence is wrong. It has to be applied in a therapeutic manner. Like, sometimes, devotees also have to go for surgery like tooth removal, tooth extraction or appendicitis or some surgery. So it is necessary. So that is required. If not necessary, why will you cut the body? That is violence. That's not it. So this is how even the Brahmins were supposed to be very peaceful, who are supposed to be compassionate. But people do not understand that this act of violence is also act of compassion. Now there is no question of using violence in our society amongst the Vaishnavas. There is no question on devotees. So we use corrective measures. Sometimes some parents may find that children are becoming very mischievous. So Srila Prabhupada said, yes, children, they must be mischievous, but you must not use violence. Even though you may show the stick, like Yashoda did to Krishna. Prabhupada gives this example. Mother Yashoda, she took the stick in her hand, seeing which she thought that Krishna will be afraid, he will be scared, and then he will be controlled. But Krishna was, way too much scared, so she threw the stick. This violence is for people who are going against Krishna consciousness or Krishna himself. In ISKCON also, sometimes people have attacked devotees from outside and then devotees retaliated because protection is required. Prabhupada said we need our own Kshatriyas. Protection is required. It's not that someone will come and harm the deity. In Mayapur, so many times it happens. Earlier it used to happen so many times. Even in Prabhupada times, 300 men, local men, they surrounded the Mayapur campus. They entered and they were damaging the property, they were damaging the deity, they were damaging the devotees. And devotees have to retaliate. They took action. That's required. We cannot keep quiet. Earlier, now it's more protected and all that. Earlier they used to come and steal the deities. That's how they used to do. And that's why Prabhupada, he said that the deities of ISKCON, they should not wear original gold. So that time there was not so much security. And if you put original gold on the deities, jewelry, then the more thieves and rogues will come. So that is when now we have to protect. We have to protect the deities, we have to protect the devotees, we have to protect Dharma. And if sometimes violence is there, it must be executed. But obviously we cannot do on how Krishna did or how the sages did. And that's why we should chant, and then Krishna will take necessary action. Like in US itself, there was a attack so many times on the temples. Someone threw a bomb once in the temple in US in Prabhupada times. I think it was 72, 70, 73, 74 sometime. That is where Prabhupada said that immediately after Mangal Arati, every day in every ISKCON temple, we should sing Narsingh Arati. This is how Narsingh Arati was introduced. Whatever you see, morning program, it gradually got evolved. Guru Puja came in 1974. The first Guru Puja performed for Srila Prabhupada was in Juhu, Bombay. And that is how it started everywhere in the world. So Narsingh Arati came because some locals, they attacked ISKCON temple. They threw some bomb or something. And Prabhupada said, pray to Lord Narsingadev. So that's what. In Mayapur, Lord Narsingha is there. Nugra Roop is standing there, killing Hiranyakashipu. It is the entrance. If anyone just goes from the main entrance, he will see one side is Lord Narsingha in the Ugra form, and other side is Garuda. So Narsingha is right there, protecting every devotee of Krishna consciousness movement. Or in 2 weeks rather, Lord Narsingha's appearance day is coming. He appeared to protect his devotee who was being tortured and harassed, even physically, by his own father, the demon. And Lord Narsingadev has to come. And again it is mentioned, executed an act of compassion which is called violence. Narsingadev killing Hiranyakashipu was compassion. Hiranyaksha was being killed by Varadev. So whenever it is necessary, Lord or his devotees, they take to violence. But now Prabhupada is saying it's difficult, better and best is to chant Hare Krishna so that everyone gets the benefit rather than killing, as it is said in the said by Jesus. Don't hate the sinner, hate the sin. So don't kill the sinner, kill the sin. That's what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did in case of Jagai and Madhai. Nityananda said, don't kill them. Don't destroy their body. Destroy their anarthas. Destroy the propensities. The sinful propensities. So whatever we have, we all have anarthas. So those anarthas has to be killed. And there will be some violence, there will be some fighting. But the fighting will be between holy name and the anarthas. And who will be standing with the holy name? Our sincerity, our dedication, our enthusiasm to chant holy name, our enthusiasm to hear attentively. And that will go and execute this act of compassion, which is called violence, on the anarthas and destroy the anarthas gradually. That time we should not show the false compassion on anarthas. Oh, no, no, please. Oh, Nam Prabhu, please, please, please don't kill them. Like Arjuna was thinking. That was bodily compassion, false compassion. Arjuna was thinking, no, I don't want to kill my grandfather. I don't want to kill my teacher. That's false compassion. So the same act of violence has to be executed within our heart, within our consciousness by holy name, by the process of bhakti, which will destroy the anarthas, which is required. We cannot be soft with anarthas. We cannot be soft with mind. Mind is so demoniac. It's so uncontrolled demon it is. Always try to cheat you. And that is why Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur said, beat your mind every day 100 times in the morning after you wake up with the shoes. And beat your mind 100 times in the night before you sleep with the broom. What is that beating? That is violence. But what is that violence? You cannot see the mind, it is subtle. How will you beat? You tell the mind, no, I'm not going to listen to you. You tell your mind, Krishna is supreme, I am servant of Krishna. I must read now. It's a reading time. Mind will say, no, don't read, you can read later. Let us call this devotee and do some Krishna Katha. And then in name of Krishna Katha, we get into Prajalpa. This is all mind driven. Then you have to tell the mind. So every time you have to go against the mind. That is it. That is violence. That is the violence which we are supposed to do to purify our consciousness. If we are soft with the mind will eat us up, completely finishes. From so many lifetimes, birth after birth, we have been soft with mind. We try to serve the mind, taking mind as our very dear master. But what we got? We got cheated. We got completely cheated. So that is why now is the time where we should not take mind lightly. We should not be very friendly with the mind, and we should try to control the mind by chanting, by executing other aspects of devotional service. And then the mind, like King Vena, sitting in our heart, will be destroyed. And then the soul, who's bounded by the mind and false ego, will be free. And then we can relish this Krishna consciousness, not getting affected with anything external. This is our process of devotional service. Hare Krishna. Any questions anyone has?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, thank you so much for such a beautiful class. So if anyone has any questions, then we can ask Prabhuji now. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, thank you so much for the very, very nice class. And so you were talking about the mind and Krishna also tells in the sixth chapter about how obstinate and adamant mind is so powerful. So right now in the conditioned state, mind is, as you said that for lifetimes we have been soft in the mind. So it is so, even in spite of hearing so much inflection, the speed of the mind is like the wind that carries the wind. And also, so we have started this practice and we understand all these things. But to really get control over the mind, it looks Himalayan and it looks so hugely impossible in day-to-day life when we compare how much control have we gained over the mind. So Prabhuji, what is the technique to understand that are we in the process of winning over the mind or not?
So, dealing with mind is not a Himalayan task. Mind is not big like Himalaya. It is bigger than Meru. It's huge. But at least by agreeing to chant Hare Krishna, fixed number of rounds. Why do we fix the number of rounds? There's a reason. We get numerical strength and we are actually declaring war with the mind. If Prabhupada will not fix the number of rounds and say, okay, you chant whatever you like. So sometimes we will chant 2 rounds, sometimes we may chant 16, sometimes we may chant 108 also. But it will fluctuate. So mind will say, oh, today you have chanted like 16 rounds, tomorrow you can relax. So 16 rounds minimum is fixed. So when you take the vow that I will chant 16 rounds every day, minimum, and you do it, you execute it, what you have done is you have declared the war on your mind. Because you have declared the war by chanting, by reading, by hearing, by associating with devotees, by eating only Krishna Prasad, by paying again and again obeisances to deities of Radha and Krishna, Gaurnitai, by following the desire of Srila Prabhupada, following the instructions of Krishna. What you are doing all this is you are becoming more and more open in challenging the mind. Okay, come, I'll deal with you, like head on. So now you already have started the war. So sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. That is how the war is. But we have to understand that we are eternal soul and Krishna is eternally supporting us. And by using this eternal weapon of bhakti, we can actually conquer our mind in due course of time. Right now, when we fight, we sometimes lose, sometimes win. It's not that every time mind wins. Sometimes we may think, yes, definitely mind is obstinate. But you see, sometimes it allows you to chant. If you are determined, mind will not be able to do much damage to you. But definitely, because of so many lifetimes of the leadership of mind under which we have lived, and now you're challenging the same person, he will definitely, the mind, it will definitely retaliate and retaliate very heavily. So, what we have to do? We must carry on this fight, taking complete shelter of the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada and Krishna, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Be in the association of devotees constantly and march forward. With complete faith on the process, that if I follow this process strictly and sincerely, I will conquer mind and go back to Godhead. Prabhupada says, if you are getting too much disturbed by anarthas, then take shelter of holy name and sincerely chant Hare Krishna. If you are getting disturbed by your mind too much, then sincerely try to increase your sincerity. Try to increase the quantity and the quality of your rounds. Chant more rounds. You cannot relax. You're on the war with mind. So we cannot relax. So what we can do is, now the war is going on, you need more and more weapons. And that weapon is in the form of holy name. And if you chant more attentively, the weapon becomes more powerful. So now take shelter and prepare more for the war. More chanting, more reading, more hearing, more association. Increase. Mind is increasing its power. Increase. You remember one of the lectures I gave about Dhruva Maharaj, how Dhruva was completely captivated by this illusory potency of yakshas. And everything was dark. And the sages came to Dhruva and said, "Oh Dhruva, when you were 5 years old, you conquered the illusory energy by holy name, by chanting the name of Lord Krishna. Now this small illusion, you can easily come over, you can easily conquer this by the same holy name." And he remembered Lord Vishnu, he remembered his Ishtadev, and he started chanting. And all the illusion was gone, and he was confident to fight. You take that purport, one or two purports are there, whether the discussion between Dhruva and sages. That's how our situation, sometimes mind becomes so powerful and it creates this illusory effect on our consciousness. Like the cloudy weather. But Krishna Surya Samamaya Hayandaka. Krishna is like sun. If you chant sincerely more, if you read and hear, the sun will shine and all this cloudy weather, all the clouds will disappear. Mind may sometime or most of the time can conquer you, but mind cannot conquer Krishna. Mind cannot conquer Guru. So we should take shelter. And we should help each other. Like if there are two devotees, one devotee is being conquered by mind, he should go and express this to other devotee, and other devotee cannot be conquered by this devotee's mind. So then other devotee will give beating to the mind of this devotee. That is what is association. Guhyam Akhyati Prichyati. We share and discuss with each other. Be in association. It's like a boundary wall. We'll be protected. So if you think sometimes the mind is too much disturbing, then on the same day or the next day, increase the quantity of devotional service. If mind is not allowing you to chant, and sometimes it happens, and disturbing too much thoughts are wandering here and there, take up some physical service in your house, in a temple. Do some service, practical physical service of Krishna. If nothing is available, take some books, go out and distribute. You may not be able to distribute even one book. You may go out for like 4 to 6 hours, but not able to distribute even one book. But what you did actually is you kicked your mind very strongly. And you see, you come back, you chant your rounds. And next day you see how mind is completely humbled. So do some physical. That's why if temple is nearby, do some physical service. Some cleaning service, some garland making. If you have deities at home, clean the altar, make beautiful garland. This kind of service will immediately give good bashing to the mind. Sometimes mind is too troubling. This is best thing. Do some active service that helps. I hope I am able to clarify and give whatever you are looking
Yes,
for.
but you gave practical tips that we can follow. Thank you so much, Lakshmi, for your wonderful association. Thank you.
So if there's no question.
Yes, if there are no more questions, so we can end here. Thank you, Prabhuji, very wonderful class. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, just can you just I don't know, repeat or elaborate? If a person has not committed to a fixed number around, they may do, two one day or even 108 another day. What were you saying was the pitfall of that kind of mentality where there hasn't been that commitment to a fixed number? Then what were you saying about that?
So when we are not committed to fixed number, minimum fixed number. I'm not talking about maximum. Prabhupada didn't say maximum 16 now. Prabhupada said minimum 16 now. If we don't commit to that minimum fixed, then what happens? We are controlled by mind. So sometimes you will feel that, oh, I want to chant more. So you don't want to chant more. Sometimes mind wants to allow you to chant. And next day, mind will completely stop you from chanting. So it will waver. Sometimes more chanting, sometimes less chanting, sometimes no chanting. But when you fix that 16 minimum, even if your mind is shouting, yelling, forcing you not to chant, but you will still somehow chant, maybe inattentively, maybe not very high quality, struggling, you will still chant your 16 out because that is your commitment, that is your duty.
I understand. Yes, it's a way of controlling the mind.
Yes.
Saying who is the boss?
Yes.
The mind, who is the boss, right?
Don't give freedom to the mind. The more we give freedom to the mind, that is why the how to control the mind is the way of discipline. Discipline is in mode of goodness. The more we are disciplined in our activities, morning wake up time, evening sleeping time, chanting, reading, hearing, our practical services, the more we are disciplined, the more mind is under control. The more mind becomes sober and remains sober. That is the activity of goodness. Goodness means everything is disciplined. Passion is more wavering up and down.
Yeah, but just like I think what Mamsi was saying before, I mean, it's easy to say, oh yes, we should be disciplined. We should not allow the mind to take control. But the mind, as we were saying, the mind can be so intimidating.
Yeah, so
and in the face and in the heat of that moment, it's difficult to really actually take control. Otherwise there's no meaning to saying that the mind is so control the mind, we wouldn't even be an issue.
No, definitely
Like
mind.
how to control in the heat of when facing that intimidation of the mind.
So first is you take shelter of Krishna, of Prabhupada, by chanting, by reading. Sometimes, if this doesn't work, because mind is too powerful, doesn't allow you to chant, go and associate with some devotees, discuss with some devotees that how mind is not even allowing me to chant. If that doesn't work, do some physical, hard, laborious services. That's all I explained. And if sometimes it is okay if you sometimes got defeated, it is okay. Even after doing all this, sometimes mind will defeat you. No problem. Next day you bounce back. Pray more to Krishna, pray more to Guru, take more shelter, become more sincere. Sometimes when mind gives us big bashing, we become more sincere. So sometimes bashing is required for us. So I gave 3 levels. First is you do more sadhana, take shelter. Second is go and associate with devotees, discuss with devotees. Third is do some practical service for the mission. Even if you have altar at the home, make some garland, make some dresses, do abhishek for the Lord, some practical service. That will keep you absorbed spiritually. And even if after doing all this you get sometime defeated, that's okay. Next day again bounce back. Because you are eternal, Krishna is eternal, Bhakti is eternal, and mind is not eternal, mind is temporary. So how long we can fight? Mind is temporary, it cannot fight for eternity. We can fight for eternity because we are eternal.
Okay, Guru. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So we shall stop here.
Thank you so much, Guru, for that experience, for this video class. So
Patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo.
This session is no longer being recorded.